Hey y'all, I'm Carrie,
I'm Momo.
and this is Monstrous. This episode contains language and topics that may not be suitable for all listeners, including violence, death, and situations that may be triggering to some. Listener discretion is advised. All right, welcome back, y'all.
Yeah, I'm here. No, I'm kidding.
So, did part one from last week keep you up all night after learning about the shark attack? Oh,
It didn't me.
did you?
No,
No? I know you felt the chills while we were recording it. You didn't like it very much.
no, I did not.
Okay, so I have a quick shark fun fact for you before we dive in. Are you ready?
I suppose.
Did you know that great whites can detect a single drop of blood in 25 gallons of water?
I heard that.
Yep, that's like spotting a ketchup packet in an Olympic size swimming pool.
That would be that.
Yeah,
That
it
boy and his ketchup.
isn't that insane?
That's crazy. Well, they're like dogs. They've got such a sense of
Yeah, sense of smell.
that. Yeah, that's it. My brain is going.
And then as for bull sharks, they can swim up the Amazon River, so against the current 2,500 miles from the ocean. Yep.
Nope, not doing it.
So this leads us to the perfect time to talk about what happens when the impossible becomes, oh God, it's here. So if you missed part one, go back and listen to it. But for those that need a refresher, here's what went down. On July 1st of 1916, Beach Haven, Charles Van Zant wades chest deep in front of the Ingleside Hotel for a pre-dinner swim. Something hits him from below. Lifeguards drag him back, bleeding from thigh to bone wounds. He dies on the manager's desk. The local paper calls it a sea creature, and the beach stays open. Then, 5 days later, on July 6th at Spring Lake Beach, Charles Bruder, who was a hotel bell captain, was out for a swim only 130 yards offshore. A woman spots something red in the water, and she thinks that it's a man with a red canoe needing help. The lifeguards row out, and they find Charles instead. His abdomen torn open, both legs severed, and he ends up bleeding out inside their boat before they ever hit the sand. Once they reach the sand, women faint on sight. The New York Times screams, quote, "Man eaten by shark." In only 5 days, two men were dead along the same coast. Congress votes for shark bounties. President Woodrow Wilson briefs his cabinet. Coast Guard patrols the beaches, and fishermen chum the surf line with horse carcasses, hanging trophies on every dock from Atlantic City to Asbury Park. From this, America discovers that a man eating shark is in fact real. And the stakes of this, those were sky high. An unseen predator had turned the Jersey Shore into a war zone. Politicians debated on closing beaches or keeping them open. The economy tells them not to close them. Experts argue about which species it is that they're hunting. The public is split between just swim closer to shore and never touching saltwater again. Patrol boats crisscross the breakers, riflemen scan the horizons, nets are strung across the surf line, and everyone assumes that it's an ocean fight, that it's surf to surf. If you kill the right shark, then summer will be safe. But they were wrong because 30 miles north of Spring Lake, past the resort towns, past the boardwalks, and past the patrol boats entirely, sits a town called Matawan. It's not glamorous or wealthy. Instead, it's a working class town of brick factories, rail yards, and tidy frame houses wrapped around Ratoran Bay. Through its heart runs Matawan Creek, which locals called the Crick. It's narrow, muddy, and brackish. It's lined with boatyards and rickety docks where generations of kids have cannonballed off of the plank. This isn't the open ocean. This is a backyard. It's miles from the open water. It's chest deep at high tide and the wrong salinity for sharks. Dads would fish for blues. Moms would send their kids there to beat the heat. And the Wyckoff Dock is far safer than the average backyard pool. But on January 12th, everything would change. 6 days after Brooder hit Spring Lake sand, it's mid morning, and Captain Thomas Cottrell, a bay fisherman who knows every current, crosses the trolley bridge over Matawan Creek. And he looks down and he sees it, a dorsal fin attached to a gray body that's about 8 feet long. And it's swimming upstream towards those swimming docks. Cottrell ran to the police station, the town hall, and to Main Street, screaming at everyone. He was quoted as saying, "Shark in the creek, headed for the kids." He was a seasoned waterman turned into the town crier. They laughed him off, saying things like, "Sharks don't swim creeks, Cap'n. Heat's got you, Tom. Send the boys home early, sure, but a shark?" His warning was ignored. The kids hit the water at 2 p.m. And this time, the shark didn't strike at a fashionable seaside resort. It swam into a small town's backyard creek. So we're headed to Matawan, New Jersey in 1916. This isn't Spring Lake Beach with its grand hotels and silk parasols. This is real America with working folks, a brick main street, a rail yard clanging in the distance, women that hang their wash on back porches, and men walking home from the cooperage or the feed mill with lunch pails swinging, where the kids play stickball in empty lots and trains rumble through twice daily. Life moves at foot speed in a place like Matawan. Through the center of town winds Matawan Creek. It's about 20 to 30 feet across in most places. It has a slow current with muddy brown water that you can't see 2 feet into. It's contained by marshy banks tangled with phagramites and cattails. The trolley bridge spans it upstream, and downstream sits the Main Street Bridge. Its wooden docks jut out every 100 yards, along including the Wyckoff Dock where the boys swim. And then there's the Murphy Dock, which is a bit farther along. These are the places where generations have fished and cooled off. So half a mile toward Keyport, the creek widens as it nears Ratoran Bay. The high tide brings salt water up from the bay a mile or two downstream. Low tide rifles mud flats where heroines stalk minnows. It's chest deep for adults at best and knee deep for kids in certain spots. Snapper blues and killifish school in the shallows. Crabs scuttle the bottom and eels hide within the weeds. It's alive here. It's teeming and productive. It's the kind of water that you know like your own backyard. Local wisdom here says that sharks don't come here. Period. So the kids that we're going to be talking about are about 8, 10, some are even 12 years old. And these kids have cannonballed off the Wyckoff dock their entire lives. Their dads land flounders 50 yards from the swimming hole. Their uncles keep their rowboats tied up right there where you fish and swim. And their grandmas wash laundry on the bank under the Main Street Bridge. This isn't the open with its rips and undertows. This is the crick, miles from surf, the wrong salinity for sharks or anything harmful. It's too shallow, too muddy, too much boat traffic, and too many people splashing around. A shark would end up beaching itself trying to turn around in a creek like this. So they wouldn't even chance entering it. And then Matawan also doesn't read the Spring Lake Gazette society pages or clip the New York Times shark headlines. The beach panic was 30 miles south. To them, that was a rich people's problem. Here, summer means creek swims after chores, rope swings off the bridge, and minnow races in pickle jars. The beach attacks register like a hurricane in Florida. It's distant, tragic, and not your water. So, it's not your problem. On Wednesday, July 12th, the heat's brutal again. In the mid 90s, air thick enough to chew. Main Street bakes. Factories let out early. Kids kick off their shoes at the creek edge. It's perfect swimming weather. Nobody mentions Spring Lake, and nobody mentions sharks. So the creek has been safe since the town charter. So why do you need to worry about a shark now? This is why when Captain Thomas Cottrell pounds on those doors mid-morning, shouting about a fin cutting upstream from the trolley bridge is the craziest thing that those of Matawan have ever heard.
They were thinking he's smoking crack.
Right, exactly. They're like, "You're this creek
"You
has
crackhead!"
this creek has been perfectly safe since the town was started. The creek is not salt water. You've lost your mind." Is basically what they're thinking.
You better stay out of the heat of the mines, buddy."
Right, exactly. "Are you having a heat stroke there, sir?" Anyway, sorry.
That's funny.
So the town officials nod to him politely, shoe keepers chuckle, and the kids keep tossing six in the shadow, waiting for 2 p.m. when the group is allowed to head in to swim. But one man knows the Rataran Bay water than most, and he just saw proof that the impossible is possible and it has fins. So we're going to go back a little bit to 10 a.m. I'm going to dive into this storyline a little more. So the sun's already hammering down on this area. Main Street's quiet except for the ice wagon clopping past and kids dodging through alleys toward the creek. Now, after the captain has been all but run out of town after, issuing his warning about the shark,
That's funny.
about the shark in the creek, pleading with the town folk, he curses and he storms off. He knows that he's right, that he can't make them see it. He knows that the tide waits for no man, and he knows that those boys will hit the water at 2 p.m. regardless.
Yeah, they will.
Oh, yeah, I was one. I'm not a boy, but I was one of those,
I know.
especially if they're at Papa's. All of us, right down there in the river all summer long.
Yeah. I'd call up there. "Where is she?" "Where else?" "Okay."
Yep. Yep. So I know exactly what this is like. As soon as that time was hit that we were allowed to go down there, we were
Mhm.
down there. Whole 2 mile walk and all. It was worth it. So Thomas Cottrell had saw the fins. He knew what 8 feet of shark looked like, and he knew what it meant in chest deep water. Now, back across the trolley bridge, he stood there alone, scanning the muddy flow. It was empty now, but the tide was still rising, and he knew that the shark was still coming. Meanwhile, 3 miles away, headlines screamed from newsstands. Shark terror continues. The New York World prints man eaters sighted off coast. The Philadelphia Inquirer read beach towns beg federal aid. Spring Lake Beach had strung its nets. Beach Haven had got rifle boats. The Coast Guard patrolled the surf line from Atlantic City to Long Branch. Nobody thinks to check the creeks, and nobody warns the boys. By noon, Lester Stillwell and his friends were kicking rocks down to the Wyckoff beach. Their shirts were off and they were ready to beat the heat. They've heard the beach stories, but those were a distant resort world problem. The creek was different. The creek was theirs, and it was safe. Cottrell watches the waters, knowing what's coming, and knows he's helpless to stop it. The man who saw the shark can't convince his own town that monsters swim in muddy water, too. 2 p.m. arrives, and it's the perfect swimming weather. The heat's a living thing now. 90 degrees in the shade, so you know it's hotter in direct sun. The air was so thick that you could cut it with a knife. Main Street's now deserted except for a few dogs and the ice cream vendor ringing his bell.
Oh, yeah, used to love the ice cream man.
Oh, yeah.
Bomb pop
Mhm. My favorite was always the strawberry crunch one.
and the push-up.
Yep. Every time we went to the little store, Papa would always get me and Johnny the little push-up.
Well, they were great for little kids because it's something they could hold on to.
Mhm. Or, they used to have ones, I can't remember what they're called. They had them for a long, long time. Um, and the little store, last time we were there, and he took Logan because he would take Logan to take the trash to the dump, just like
Mhm.
he used to do me and Johnny, and they'd stop at the little store. And, they still had them. It was ice cream. It was like in a plastic upside down triangle and had ice cream in it, and then at the very bottom was a gumball. I
I don't
can't remember what they were called.
I don't remember those.
That's the only place that I ever seen them was the little store, and you couldn't wait to get to that fricking gumball. You'd get all the way down to the gumball, and the damn gumball was hard as a rock.
Frozen.
Yep, but you still put it in your mouth and chewed it.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, sorry.
Yeah, you kids had it so damn rough.
Yep. Anyway, sorry, guys. So, the factories let out early because of the heat, and every kid in Matawan had a free afternoon, and so they headed for the creek. 6 boys between 11 and 12 years old hit the path to the Wyckoff Dock. Leading them was Lester Stillwell. He was small for his age with a slight build, known around town as the kid with epilepsy, but that didn't stop him. His friends watched out for him. When he seized, they knew to roll him over on his side and keep him safe until it passed. But Lester was game though. He never missed a creek swim, and he never backed down from a cannonball contest. They reached the dock with its rickety planks extending 10 feet over muddy water. Yeah, chest deep here at high tide and knee deep at the edges, and it was perfect for the boys. They stripped down fast. Their shoes kicked under the dock with shouts and laughs echoing off the marsh grass. Someone had to stay back to poke the crab. Another had to toss pebbles to see who skipped farthest. The water tempted them. It was brownish and cool against the furnace air. The visibility wasn't good, maybe 2 feet on a good day. The mud stuck to their toes as they waded in. That was the worst part.
I know that it's
Ugh, it
like,
grosses me out. I hate that feeling on my feet. Ugh.
see, now they have swim shoes. So
Yeah, but I can't wear those.
me
I
neither.
can't do it.
Give me a pair of flip-flops.
Nope, I can't do that either. Gotta go in barefoot. You just gotta muscle through it because the mushiness is gonna go away. It's gross and I hate it. You just gotta muscle through it.
No, I don't.
So the kids splashed, they wrestled, and swam out to the dock's edge and back. Normal things that kids do. Lester was right in the middle, floating on his back, his arms out with his legs kicking around in lazy circles. His friends dog paddled nearby, dunking each other into the water and racing to the pilings. This was their summer, and this was their crick. Then Lester jerks, and it wasn't a seizure, and it wasn't cramp. His whole body convulses hard.
Mm.
His arms flailing, mouth open in a scream that was cut short. His friends freeze mid splash. Lester, they called to him. There was no answer, just churning water. A dark shape was below him. Then, blood, bright red against the muddy brown, starts seeping up. And now they see it. Something is pulling him down. They see the teeth, a gray body thrashing just under the surface. And then Lester's gone, yanked into the murk be- between the dock pilings. The water boils red. The boys scream of pure animal terror, scrambling up muddy banks, some half naked, tumbling and clawing their way to safety while screaming, quote, "Shark, Lester, shark got Lester." They sprint for Main Street barefoot, crying and covered in creek mud. They burst from the alley, shouting to anyone who will listen, quote, "Shark took Lester in the creek, Wyckoff Dock." Shopkeepers step out, women drop their laundry baskets, and men leave horses untethered. The adults don't believe it, but kids don't lie about this. Not while they're covered in mud, with their eyes wild and still screaming. A crowd began to form fast. 20 to 30 people headed down towards the docks. And by the time they reached the dock, half the town knew. Lester Stillwell, 11 years old, a beloved local boy, was missing in chest deep creek water. They stare at the red stained current flowing downstream, muddy ripples where he had vanished, silence, and then yelling for Lester. Men stripped off their shirts, waiting to dive in after him if he called back. But something was wrong. The water here was too murky. It had too many pilings and had too much current now. And then there were the whispers, what if it's still in there? Now back up the path, the other boys hurtled together, shaking and scared. One saw the shape the clearest. They said it was gray, as big as a man, and rolling through the shallows like it belonged there. Another of the boys swears that he saw Lester's hand break the surface once and then sink away again. They clung to each other, mostly naked and muddy, reliving it. Their friend floating, jerking, surrounded by blood, and then just gone. Main Street's now paralyzed, and the news hits him like lightning, house to house, store to store. Lester's parents faced the unimaginable. The boy with seizures, the one everyone looked out for, was taken in broad daylight from the safest place in town. Captain Cottrell hears the news and goes white, saying, quote, told him, goddamn told him. The crowd at the dock swells to 50 people and then 100. Men organize, gathering ropes, poles, and grappling hooks. Somebody suggests dynamite. Women sob openly.
Nice.
Yeah, like just blow his shit up.
Shark sushi.
Right.
I hope not.
No, I meant this shark sushi part.
Oh, the shark sushi? I can't talk.
Women sob openly. The kids who were swimming just minutes ago now stare at the creek like it's the mouth of hell.
Well,
But
to them it was.
right, exactly. They just 11 and 12 years old just watched their friend
They're
be
traumatized for the rest of
eaten.
their lives.
Right. They just saw their friend be eaten by a fucking shark. I couldn't imagine the fear of water after that. Oh my God. I think I would be terrified of water. Ugh. But unfortunately, no body resurfaces. The current carries blood down toward Keyport. Searchers wade the shallows, afraid to go any deeper. Fear spreads faster than the tide because if a shark can take Lester Stillwell from Wyckoff Dock, what else can it reach? Word rockets to the beach town. The New York World printer spins headlines like Shark Strikes Inland Creek, Boy Vanishes. The Spring Lake nets seem quaint now. Beach Haven's rifles seem pointless. Matawan Creek is a half-mile wide, 10 feet deep max, and miles from the surf. If a shark can hunt here, then where's the end? The thing that nobody knows is sharks can follow flood tides up estuaries. They also don't know that bull sharks thrive in brackish murk. And lastly, nobody knows that one bad current or one prey chase can put 8 feet of death right in your backyard.
I ain't going to the lake this year. What am I talking about? I'm in the water anyway.
Right. Not only that, the lake that we go to is connected to it's a man made lake.
Wow. No, that's a good.
One, we're not near the coast, first off.
Well, no,
We're in the middle of the country.
we're in the middle of nowhere.
Second all Second of all, the lake that we go to is man made. So
Oh, okay.
it's not connected to the ocean in any kind of way. So you're good. You can get into the lake that we go to
No,
and be perfectly safe. You have no fear
no,
of sharks.
I'm good.
Okay. So now, as searchers probe the red water and Lester's friends sob on the bank, Matawan learns the hardest way possible that nowhere is safe unless you live in the middle of the country. The shark is still there. And until it's gone, anyone that enters the water is prey. The word
Shark is looking at me and goes, hell, she got too much fat. I don't like fatty people.
actually, the prey that sharks eat is high in fat. Just
Oh,
saying.
now I'm never going in the water.
It's still
Nope,
you still have less fat content than what their natural prey is, but I'm just saying.
nope, I'm done.
Okay, anyway. So word continues to spread and the crowd gathered around grows larger. Watson Stanley Fisher, who is often referred to just as Stanley Fisher, so that's what we'll be calling him, is a 24-year-old local tailor. He's a church-going man, a fiancé, and a well-liked, solid Ma Matawan man, and he steps forward. "I'll go in," he says. The crowd murmurs. Then Stanley strips down to his underwear. He ties
There's a
a
scary thought.
Oh my god. He ties a rope around his waist for insurance just in case he needs to be pulled out, and the other end is looped around a piling. Onlookers line both bridges now. Men grip the rope slack, and Stanley dives. The man who just went in to save Lester is about to learn why nobody else would. The murky brown water swallows him. Seconds feel like minutes. The crowd holds its breath. He surfaces, gasping and shaking his head, saying, quote, "Nothing." He dives again, longer this time. The crowd counts. 1, 10, and then 20. He surfaces again, mud in his hair. This time he says,
Ew.
quote, "I felt something. Clothing, maybe." The crowd cheers faintly. Third dive, deeper, the longest yet. 1, 15, and then 30. Then Stanley surfaces, clutching Lester. Naked and limp, his left leg and lower torso gone.
Mhm. Poor baby.
Lester had massive wounds. Blood was sheeting off both bodies. The crowd gasped. Stanley starts kicking for the shore, dragging Lester's 70-pound frame. Onlookers cheer, relief mixed with horror. They call to him, saying, quote, "Pull him. That's it, Stanley." 30 feet from the dock. They're almost safe. Then the water erupts. The shark hits Stanley from below. His right thigh, right calf, bit clean through, muscle to bone in one wrenching strike. Stanley screams. A grown man, 24 years, shrieking like the boys did. Blood explodes around him. The gray body thrashes. Surface visible now, its tail whipping, its dorsal fin slicing the water 6 inches from Stanley's face. Lester slips from his arms and sinks again, and the crowd screams. It's pure chaos. Women faint off the bridges. Men hold the rope like mad, yanking Stanley through the bloody froth as the shark circles and bites the air where his legs were. They drag him up the bank, his shredded right leg trailing, and his femoral artery pumping red. He's alive, though screaming and white faced, clearly going into shock, but he's alive when he comes out of that creek. And then someone yells train. Perfect timing. They manage to stop a freight train, which rushes Stanley to Long Branch Hospital 20 miles away. His leg is tied with a tourniquet using a belt, shirt, and prayers. The crowd parts like the Red Sea, and the doctors are waiting. But in the end, blood loss wins. Stanley Fisher dies en route to the hospital. His last recorded statement before passing away was, quote, "I did my duty." This was the second victim in the same creek in the same afternoon. Later on that day, farther downstream past the Main Street Bridge, hung up by brush near Keyport, Lester's body would be found.
Mm. Poor baby.
The coroner confirmed that the shark wounds on Lester matched those of Stanley. So it was the same shark that attacked both. Lester's left leg was gone at the hip, and his lower torso was shredded. The boy who floated on his back at 2 p.m. was recovered about 2 hours later, around 4, weighing 2 pounds lighter than he did when he entered the creek. After this, Matawan shattered. Two of their own were dead in less than 6 hours in only chest deep creek water. The Wyckoff Dock, dock the Wyckoff Dock, the then neighborhood heart for generations, was now a death site. Stanley Fisher wasn't diving for fun. He went in after a boy when no one else would, in life-threatening water. And for that, he was deemed a hero. But sadly, the shark took him too. National wires exploded with a major headline. Quote, "Shark kills hero rescuer in creek." The New York Times read, quote, "Man-eater penetrates miles inland. Spring Lakes net, Spring Lakes nets, Beach Haven's boats were both now child's play. If sharks can hunt in Matawan Creek, then nowhere was safe." After this, the president's cabinet reconvened. Congress talked about bigger bounties, and every East Coast mayor checked his local streams. Fears were much different now than they were before. Sharks aren't just an ocean dread any longer. Now they are a backyard creek dread as well. The monsters didn't stay offshore, as people believed. They followed the tide in. They found the kids, and they killed the heroes. Rumors spread that it was still in there. But half a mile downstream, past the bridges and past the search parties, oblivious teenage boys still planned to swim. And Joseph Dunn was about to learn what Stanley Fisher did the hard way. It was the same day, same creek, roughly 30 minutes after Stanley Fisher's shredded body hit the Long Branch train. Word hadn't quite reached everywhere just yet. And half a mile downstream from that Wyckoff Dock, past the chaos, past the Main Street Bridge, past the growing crowds and sobbing women, three teenage boys approached another creek swimming spot near the Rose Lane dock, closer to where the creek starts widening out toward Ratoran Bay. Joseph Dunn was 14 years old. He was a skinny New York City kid visiting his Matawan cousins for the summer, though he wasn't local like Lester and Stanley, but instead a city boy who knew subways, not tides. He was out with his brother Michael and their friend Patrick. They had heard something about some kind of trouble up creek, but the details for them were fuzzy. The creek looked fine from where they were. The creek water was cool on a hot day, so why not swim? The boys stripped down and waded into chest deep water, same as everywhere else in the creek. The mud oozed between their toes,
Mm.
and and they swam out about 10 to 15 feet from shore, where they did what kids do in the water. They splashed around, goofed off, and just had fun. The current here was stronger than it was upstream, which is pretty typical. The closer you get, the wider it gets, the stronger the stream gets.
Right.
And the tide was still flooding in from the bay. Visibility went from very little to zero, but it was the same murky brown soup colored water that swallowed Lester and Stanley farther upstream. And then Joseph felt it, the clamp. Iron jaws closed in on his left leg.
Mm-mm.
It wasn't just a nibble, and it wasn't an exploratory bite. It was a full predatory clamp.
Mm.
His flesh tore free in just one wrench.
Ow!
Yeah, makes your legs hurt thinking about it.
Yes, it does.
Joseph screams, high pitched and panicked. He felt himself get yanked downward. His legs bicycled uselessly, while the water turned white and red all around him. Michael and Patrick grab his arms and his upper body. It's an instant tug of war with an 8-foot monster with the bite force of about 360 pounds. It's shark versus teenage boys. During this, Joseph was half submerged and thrashing. Michael and Patrick fall backwards with everything they have, their skinny teenage arms burning and their feet sliding in the creek mud. No matter how hard they pulled, the shark wouldn't let go. It hung on to its hunt, shaking and pulling down toward deeper water. Joseph's leg bones grind while more flesh is stripped away. Blood clouds everything around them. It was it was three boys versus 8 feet of muscle and teeth, and they were losing. Patrick screamed for help. Michael wrapped his arms around Joseph's chest like a vice. Then, luckily, a passing boatman heard their screams and panic and rowed over to them. The boatman, the boatman grabbed Joseph under his arms and he pulled. Now it's three humans, two teenage boys, and a man versus one shark in a fight for Joseph. The crowd upstream, now aware of the attack, farther down rushes to where they heard the shouting. It rushes down, shouting and throwing sticks, doing anything they can to distract the shark. But the shark, again, shakes its massive head and whips its massive tail. Joseph's friends felt the power through his body that time. They later they later said that it was like wrestling an alligator. The boatman took one of its oar and jammed it into the water. And by the grace of God, one of those jams connects with the gray flank and the shark releases. They yanked Joseph free and scramble up to the bank. Joseph was screaming and he was white faced. His left leg was flayed to the bone from knee to ankle.
Mhm.
The
Well
muscle was gone, and the only muscle that, if you want to say, left was his calf muscle, and it was just dangling on his leg.
mm,
Blood poured from his body. The crowd surrounds him. Women are screaming. Men are shouting for a doctor, rags, anything at all to stop the bleeding. Joseph's brother Michael collapses beside him, his hands red with his brother's blood. Someone flags down the next train that makes its way through Matawan, another special run to Long Branch, where doctors await for their arrival. They manage to save Joseph's leg, but barely. Joseph spent 59 days in St. Peter's Hospital. He went through extensive surgery, months of recovery, multiple skin grafts, and he faced multiple infection battles. He was left with large purple scars, but through it all, he lived. Joseph Dunn became the only survivor of the 5 confirmed shark attacks off Jersey Shore in July of 1916. Joseph became the boy who survived the creek, who survived the man eating shark. Word hits Main Street like an aftershock. 3 attacks in the same creek on the same afternoon. First, a beloved local boy, then the hero rescuer, and now a visiting teenager. From Wyckoff Dock to Vreeland Dock, which was also known as Rose Lane Dock, a half-mile stretch of Backyard Creek was now a kill zone. The national reaction after this explodes. The New York Times prints, quote, "Shark terror in Creek claims third victim, boy survives." The Philadelphia Inquirer reads, quote, "Man-eater penetrates miles inland." Spring Lake's net Spring Lake's nets look like toys. Beach Haven's rifle boats are pointless. If one shark, or a school of sharks, hunts in Matawan Creek, then where is the boundary between ocean and land? From here, every East Coast town checks its streams, rivers, and bays. The president's shark policy suddenly becomes a national emergency. That's just the craziest thing. A national emergency is a fucking shark. Like, I could obviously, we see why. It's just crazy to think that 1916 shark attacks were a national emergency.
right.
It's wild. So, Matawan finally officially shuts down. There's no more creek swims. Guards are posted at bridges, and dynamite rumors continue to swirl. The once safe creek, the heart of a childhood summer, becomes forbidden ground. Joseph's survival is bittersweet. He lives to tell the tale, but he's scarred forever. In later interviews, he was quoted as saying, "Felt it grip, felt it shake, thought I was gone." July 12th of 1916 ended in 3 shark attacks, leaving 2 dead with 1 survivor, and it only took 6 hours, all in one creek. The Jersey Shore War just went from the ocean shores to the backyard creeks, and the shark hunt was now a major federal operation, and these newest attacks only intensified it. So Michael Schleicher loads up his harpoons. Fishermen chum Radaran Bay. They don't know it yet, but the man-eater had a date with destiny. The Matawan Creek now runs red. The nation was panicked. But 2 days later, in Radaran Bay, just outside of town, a taxidermist took something that would change everything. So the creek that was a playground at noon was now a crime scene. Guards were posted at the bridges. There was no swimming and no fishing. Women wouldn't let their kids within 50 yards of the water. The Wyckoff Dock was cordoned off with rope. The Main Street Bridge was lined with grim men scanning the current. And half a mile downstream, where Joseph barely escaped, boaters refused to launch. Word hit the wires like lightning, and more headlines were run. New York Times Evening Edition printed, quote, "Shark kills boy. Hero rescuer in New Jersey Creek. Teen survives." The Philadelphia Inquirer wrote, quote, "Man-eater swims miles inland, terrorizes town." The New York World writes, quote, Shark penetrates estuary, claims second victim." Each one of these on the front page above the fold, each of them beating all of the World War I headlines. This isn't Beach Haven's sea creature or Spring Lake's possible shark. This was undeniable. 3 attacks, 2 dead, 1 mangled survivor. Chest deep creek water, miles from the ocean, 6 hours in the same afternoon. Captain Cottrell was laughed off at 10 a.m. Now he was deemed a prophet. Beach towns that had strung up nets and patted themselves on the back were now panicking. Every East Coast mayor suddenly inventoried local streams, rivers, and bays, asking things like, "Is there a creek behind your boardwalk? Is there a tidal river by your pier?" The president's shark policy meeting reconvened. Congress whispered about bigger bounties. Is this one shark? Is it a school? Could it be a migration? The Coast Guard pivots. It, patrols expanded from the surf line to every bay mouth. Netting operations scale up as they set up steel mesh to replace the chicken wire they had originally placed. Towns hire armed guards for piers. Some even close beaches outright. The economic engine sputters worse than it did before. The Jersey Shore resorts that survived the attacks of Van Zant and Bruder now bleed from the Matawan headlines. Safe sea bathing is dead. Civilians go feral, and active warfare escalates. Fishermen, owners, and weekend hunters load their motorboats with rifles, shotguns, harpoons, and axes. The bait escalates. They start using sheep carcasses, horse guts, and fish heads, all dumped in the waters by the ton. Chum slicks turn the ocean pink from Long Branch to Sandy Hook. The Atlanta Constitution prints a quote, "Armed shark hunters patrol in active warfare." And the rules were simple. If you spot a dorsal, then you shoot. You see a big shadow, you use your harpoon. Anything 6 feet or larger, gray and toothy, is ordered dead. Docks become trophy galleries. Photographs show 8-foot sharks strung up, jaws propped open with sticks, and crowds cheering like it's V-Day. Kids poke the dead eyes. Vendors hawk at the man-eater shark. Porpoises mistaken for sharks get gaffed. Sunfish are shot for their weird fins. Rationality completely vanishes. This is the Old Testament. You destroy the beast and cleanse the waters. Newspapers did nothing but fuel the frenzy. Maps mark the shark zones. Eyewitness tallies explode, and nobody verifies those supposed shark sightings. They just believe it. I mean, it's 1916. What the fuck else are you supposed to do? Am I wrong?
I don't know, when they're
Fear makes the monsters of the shadows real. President Wilson's shark crisis becomes an election issue. Coastal voters blame him, saying things like, quote, "Europe's war? Fine. Greek sharks? Fix it." So they're like, "Fuck Europe's war. We got sharks in our fucking creek. That's what you need to be worried about, Mr. President." So, am I wrong? That's basically
No,
what
you're
they're
not
saying.
wrong, honey.
They just said it more politely. That's all.
Yeah.
Mid-1900s talk. That's how they said it. I wish I knew how they talked because I would say it like that. Anyway, so Matawan specifically was shell shocked. The creek, which was the literal heart of childhood, was now forbidden. Guards chased kids away with sticks. Could you fucking imagine? You're just standing on the bridge and all of a sudden you see a guard chasing a kid with a stick in his hand.
I would fall over laughing.
Dynamite rumors continued to swirl with residents saying, "Blow the bastard up." But even with this, life still went on. Lester and Stanley's funerals were set for July 15th. Joseph's leg was saved, but he'll have a limp forever. The town that laughed at Cottrell now whispered his name as if he was an oracle. National consensus shifted. Man eating sharks aren't a beach resort myth anymore. This is backyard reality. If 8 feet of death swims in Matawan Creek, then what's patrolling your local water? Now, with this new fear and knowledge, every fisherman checked his bay and every parent eyed the river. Shark fear, which was once a sailor superstition, had now become a middle class terror. And through the frenzy, one question continued to burn: is it still there? Now, due to the time and lack of technology that wouldn't come for another 36 years, nobody knew the bull shark followed flood tides up brackish estuaries. Nobody knew that they hunted by vibration in zero visibility murk. And no one knew that one confused and hungry individual shark can turn safe water deadly. Sorry. Now, on Friday, July 14th, 2 days after Matawan Creek ran red, Radarin Bay, right at the creek mouth where brackish water meets salt, taxidermist Michael Schleicher, a New York sportsman and shark hunter, heard the panic on the wires. So he went fishing, but he wasn't fishing for dinner. He was hunting monsters. His boat rocked gently. His lines were heavy with red mullet bait. His crew scanned for dorsal fins. A chum trail leads from Matawan Creek like a bloody breadcrumb path. At 10 a.m., his line screamed off the reel. Something massive, about 11 feet and 325 pounds, fight like nothing any local fisherman had ever hooked. That's a big ass fish. Are you listening?
Yeah, I'm
Oh, okay.
listening.
3 men wrestle at boatside. Then, after about 45 minutes, they see gray skin, a massive head, and jaws like bolt cutters when they pry them open. A crowd gathers at the dock as Schleicher strings it up for photos. Jaws propped open with a stick and the tail pointed toward the camera. The man eater had been caught, and cheers erupted. Kids poked the eyes. Vendors were planning Schleicher's shark postcards. After this, they rushed to Schleicher's New York shop, but the real show had yet to come. That was the dissection. Reporters crowded in. Flashbulbs popped as knives sliced the belly, shallow at first and then deep, and the crowd gasped. Inside the giant shark was human flesh, undigested flesh and bone. It was fresh. They found a liver, thigh muscle, and a knee joint.
Ew! Yeah, God. Nasty.
These all matched the wounds of Vanzant's and Joseph's. It was a pound or two total of human parts inside this massive monster. But it wasn't enough to account for two full torsos, but it was proof. The cameras clicked. Wires burned nationwide, running headlines like "Man Eater Caught, Human Remains in Stomach." From the New York Times, "Shark that ate four contains human flesh." And the Philadelphia Inquirer, "Monster Slayer, Schleicher's 11-foot the killer." Beach towns finally exhaled. Mayors claimed victory. The Coast Guard
Yeah,
stood
figured
down.
they would.
Yeah, victory like you did anything, sir.
Thank you very much.
Right. The Coast Guard stood down its patrols, and President Wilson's shark crisis was demoted to a footnote. Problem solved, the officials announced. The man eater is dead. Matawan dares to breathe again, and the creek guards relax. Kids eye the water warily, but the whispers start. Maybe it's safe now. Captain Cottrell nods slowly, vindicated and exhausted, saying, quote, "Big bastard. Hope that's the one." Lester Stillwell's and Stanley Fisher's funeral processions were the following day. Joseph's leg was saved, but he'll always carry the scars. The town buries its dead, believing that the nightmare was over. And then science weighs in. Ichthyologists examined photos and measurements. Some say it was a sand tiger. Others argue that it was a large sandbar shark. Some say it was a perfect match for creek conditions. Experts who once called Van Sant's attack a turtle now write papers. Marine biology takes a leap forward. And from here, shark attacks suddenly become a legitimate research field. Ulrich's 25-year-old bet has officially lost. The nation celebrates, sh- shark steaks sell out, taxidermy jaws tour Coney Island, beaches reopen, the trains fill again, and summer is saved. The resort owners sigh, counting losses but eyeing the August recovery. But there are questions that still linger, quiet ones that are among the fishermen. Schleicher's shark had some human remains, but not all. What about Van Zant's femur? It was still missing. Bruder's eviscerated torso is not there. And what about Lester's missing leg? There was only a partial match at best. The stomach contents of the shark caught were fresh, but it was caught after the Matawan attacks, not before. So whatever the shark had ate should have digested everything by that time. Greek witnesses describe a faster and leaner shark. Schleicher's specimen was an 11-foot, heavyweight, broad, slow water build. It didn't fit what people had described. Modern forensics have later went on to poke holes in this belief. Now, in 1916, DNA was impossible. There were no stomach contents that were preserved. Photos were murky, and the species debate raged on for over 100 years. And honestly, it's still happening today. Was it a bull shark, a great white juvenile, or a sand tiger scavenger? Richard Elias's 2012 book, The Empty Ocean, argues that Schleicher's shark ate creek scavenged remains that had floated downstream and was not the actual live killer. Bull sharks, which are brackish masters, fit the eyewitness speed, aggression, and creek navigation better. And the stomach of the shark that was caught was too small to hold 4 victims. But in 1916, they didn't care. They needed a dead shark on a dock. They needed victory. And Slasher's 11-foot became their man-eater. It was case closed. Beaches were once again packed. Kids swam closer to the shore now, and the shark panic became a bar story, and that's it. But some knew better than to act as if it didn't happen or to act like it was over and would never happen again. Captain Cottrell watched the tides. The local fishermen avoided Raturan Bay solos, and a week later was the last known attack. Sherry Colgate, who was 16 years old, was severely bitten off of Shrewsbury River. She had similar wounds to the other victims. But Schleicher's catch, is that a coincidence, or was it proof that multiple sharks were still hunting the area? Matawan Creek stayed quiet after this. No more attacks happened, but the creek never felt the same. The Wyckoff Dock rotted away. Kids found new swimming holes, and the town that laughed at sharks in the creek now whispered when passing bridges. Schleicher's shark, now mounted with his jaws agape, poured for years. And then it disappeared in a 1940s fire, lost forever to history. But the legend endured. The man-eater had been caught, and the summer had been saved. But the truth? That was murkier than Matawan Creek. 4 dead, 1 survivor, 12 days of terror. And the nation that laughed at shark fears now slept with one eye open on the Circle Court. Beaches were now scared, and America now was scared of sharks. Slasher's trophy shark became legend. But was it really the killer, or just a convenient end to a national nightmare? Now, before we close the book on 1916, we're going to pull back from the Matawan Creek's red waters and talk about sharks specifically as a whole. Not as movie monsters, but as a 400 million-year-old fish that was here before trees were.
So in other words, they're related to the dinosaurs.
Yeah, they were here at the same time as dinosaurs. Yeah, they're
That's why the dinosaurs
they're
they went
old.
extinct.
They're
Sharks ate them.
probably they're ancient.
They wanted sushi.
And we have to talk about them as a creature because understanding how a shark pulls off something like the Jersey Shore attacks changes the story from a supernatural horror to rare but real biology. Then, after we go through the difference and a Shark 101 kind of thing, Mama, you can tell me what you think. Do you think, what shark you think started the whole thing? And which one was the biggest predator here?
Don't know, don't care.
Because I've narrowed it down to two, and I'll tell you what I think. And
You're gonna tell me what you think anyway.
y'all email us, send us a Facebook message, comment over on YouTube on this episode or on the Facebook post. Let us know what you think. What?
Don't do sharks.
Okay, so sharks aren't reptilian villains with glowing eyes. They're ancient fish. Are cartilaginous relatives of rays and skates.
Of what?
But like stingrays and then
Oh, okay, okay.
skates, they're other sea creatures. They've been swimming the oceans since the dinosaurs were eggs.
That's why the dinosaurs are extinct because the sharks ate them.
Over 500 species exist. So
I'm
500
never going
different
to the
kinds of
beach again.
sharks. Yep. That includes freshwater and saltwater.
I don't care what kind of water they in.
Each of these are exquisitely adapted to its world. So great whites patrol cold coastal waters. Whale sharks filter plankton in the tropics. Hammerheads hunt the reef, and bull sharks swim thousands of miles up the Amazon, Ganges, and even the Mississippi, perfectly happy in the muddy.
Oh, hell no. We are too close to the Mississippi, girlfriend.
It's like a town over.
Yes, I know.
They're perfectly happy in the muddy, brackish soup of areas just like the Matawan Creek. So, as we all know, most sharks are fish eaters. They're squid specialists and seal connoisseurs. Humans do not register as prey to them, despite what many people believe. So, humans are bony, we're low fat, and we're table we're terrible table fare compared to a fat sea lion or a big tuna. Worldwide confirmed shark attacks average about 80 a year, with about 5 of those being fatal. So there's not as many shark attacks as people believe. And a lot of those shark attacks are, "Oh, a shark bumped up against me and now my leg is sliced open because it rubbed against me." Or, "Oh, it kinda just lightly bit me to see what I was." Those are classified as shark attacks, even though really it's not an attack. Anyway, so these numbers are across millions of swimmers, surfers, and divers who enter their world every year. You're going to argue with me, but statistically, the ocean is safer than it is to drive to the beach.
That's why you shouldn't go.
You are more likely to crash your car on your way there than you are by being attacked by a shark. Yep. How much does that blow your mind?
It don't blow my mind. You just tell me you ain't going ever.
So this is because sharks are apex predators. They're
To
not
quote a
villains.
person I let, not it.
Sharks typically go after weak fish, sick seals, turtles, and overpopulated rays to keep the marine ecosystems in balance. If you remove the shark, the ocean balance and the food chain crash. Which brings us to the big question. What shark attacked Beach Haven, Spring Lake, and Matawan? Was it a great white or a bull shark?
It's probably a bull shark.
Let me break this down and then you can tell me what you think.
I already told you what I think.
I think I might change your mind a little bit. So we
I know what it was.
what?
It was piranha.
You're so stupid.
I ain't
Some
stupid.
fucking piranha fish. Yes, I can't with you.
Piranha will eat you.
One single piranha fish.
Okay, one big fat piranha
A
fish.
school of them, yes.
A big fat one.
I can't with you. So we now know today that there's a big difference between a great white and a bull shark.
Well, yeah,
In 1916, they didn't know the difference. A shark was a shark.
it was a big fish.
Right. That's it. But today we know there's a huge difference. And the difference in those are much more than just how they look. The great whites prefer the cooler coastal waters. So think like Cape Cod buffets. They hunt visually, striking from below where swimmer's silhouette against the sunlight surface appear to be their normal prey. Their diet starts out with fish and rays as pups. Their diet shifts to seals once they're big enough. This shift usually occurs when their jaw size, swimming speed, and hunting ability improve, which allows them to move from the nursery habitats to the open water. And this usually happens when a shark is about 4 years old. Beach,
See, toddlers.
basically. So Beach Haven's Van Zant attack while treading water 60 yards offshore and Spring Lake's attack on Brooder only 130 yards from the shore both fit a great white attack perfectly. Out of the classic surf zone ambush, where a dark shape against the sky looks like a meal. But bull sharks tell a different story. These sharks are unmatched at handling salinity swings, which is basically the saltiness of the water itself. So this really is just a fancy way to say that they handle the fluctuation of the saltiness in water better than any other fish or any other shark.
Who does?
Bull shark. That's why they can be in fresh water. So I'll get to it. I'll get to
So
it.
I was right.
I'll get to it. So bull sharks have specialized kidneys and special glands that let them move from saltwater to freshwater like it's nothing. They're able to filter out excess water and recycle the salt in their body already. This ability allows them to live in freshwater for years. So all sharks have this ability. It's called osmoregulation. But there's only about 5 or 6 species out of 500 that can use this to switch and adapt to living in either salt or fresh water. Bull shark being one of them. And they are the best of the best when it comes to osmoregulation. We know this because it's documented that bull sharks can swim 2,500 miles up the Amazon River and hundreds of miles up other freshwater rivers worldwide. Bull sharks don't hunt specific things like great whites do. Instead, bull sharks are opportunistic eaters. They take on fish, rays, other sharks, even drowning land animals. Basically, if a bull shark is hungry, they're gonna eat whatever presents itself. They don't give a fuck what it is.
Kinda like teenage boys.
Yeah, yeah.
Or I should say teenagers, because my girls like me out of house and home.
Bull sharks thrive in murky estuaries, river mouths, and poor visibility waters. In fact, they actively search out these kind of water conditions. They prefer these murky, low visibility areas than they do the open ocean. This is because these kinds of water conditions give them a significant hunting advantage. The poor visibility makes it harder for prey to see that the bull shark is coming. They also use
Da-da, da-da.
they also use the bump and bite strategy where they headbutt their prey in order to identify it before they attack.
Mean little suckers, ain't they?
Uh-huh. So now I'm sure everyone is wondering, how exactly do bull sharks find their prey if they can't see in the water? Great whites are visibility hunters. They have to see it to get it.
Right.
Bull sharks don't use their vision.
No, they use their forehead.
Unlike other sharks, bull sharks use what is called electroreception. The bull sharks have special pores that detect the electrical pulses, which are given off by the heartbeats and muscle movements of their prey.
That's rude.
So, ergo, they're opportunistic hunters. Whatever gives off a heartbeat and muscle movement to their pores, they attack it if they're hungry. They don't care what it is. They also have a keen sense of smell. This allows them to smell their prey even with all the muck inside the water. They are able to distinguish what is what. The Matawan Creek is bull shark paradise. It's chest deep, brackish murk on a flood tide from Radaran Bay, zero visibility, perfect for the kinds of vibrations that Lester Stillwell, Stanley Fisher, and Joseph Dunn were all sending out. The bump that each of them felt before the attack is a classic bull shark move, not that of a great white.
I told you.
So, how do the sharks even find these places like this? Their sensory toolkit makes humans look blind and deaf by comparison. Their sense of smell is beyond amazing. A few episodes ago, we talked about the sense of smell in a dog and how strong and how well it is. That of a shark makes the sense of smell in a dog look like nothing. Sharks can detect blood in 1 part per million. So basically, most sharks can smell one tiny drop of blood in a pool that holds 660,000 gallons of water.
Ah,
Yep,
most husbands should have that from time to time.
I can't with you. Oh my God. But sharks can't just smell it because it's there. They need the currents to carry it. So if you just drop some blood in something that there's no currents, they're not going to smell it simply because it's there. There has to be the current to smell the
To
scent with
bring it
it.
to them.
Right, just like dogs with wind. This is why Van Zant's femoral artery turned the water into a neon sign as little as a mile away. And honestly, it most likely attract one or more sharks to that attack site.
They're going, "Lunchtime!"
Right. Then you have their lateral line. This is a specialized sensory system that is found in both fish and sharks. Oh, I guess technically sharks are a fish, but they're not like the normal type of fish. Which this allows them to detect movement, vibrations, and pressure changes within the water around them. So splashing your legs, kicking your feet, and loud noises can attract sharks to you if they are within 3 to 10 feet of you.
So they just swimming along and all of a sudden go, "Oh, lunch."
Right. However, they can also detect pressure changes from large things as well, like boats or large animals up to 330 feet away because they give off more because they're
Right.
larger. So basically, sharks move where their prey moves.
They follow the food.
Exactly. The 1916 heat wave pushed bait fish into shallow water seeking cooler depths.
And because the fish came there,
The sharks followed.
followed because that's their floating lunch, so to speak.
Exactly. And all the people in the water,
Make it a smorgasbord.
a great white wouldn't know
The difference between a human and a fish.
exactly. The flood tides carried bull sharks up Matawan Creek, chasing those same mullet schools. So if you have a curious shark that is exploring new territory and it finds unusually easy food,
He's gonna stick around,
exactly. The currents, temperature breaks, and seasonal migrations put them right where the humans were splashing around and doing exactly what attracts them.
kinda like in-laws.
Oh my God.
I'm kidding. I'm
So,
kidding.
what is it that made 1916 different than any other day? What made that year so aggressive?
It was hot.
It was the perfect storm conditions. The record heat meant faster metabolism, therefore, hungrier sharks. And just like humans, stressed individuals take more risks. And a successful creek bite like Lester's conditions a shark to return to that area.
Because he knows the food's good.
He knows there's food there. They're going to come back.
They're going, they're going to tell their friends,
And
"I got the best place,"
and bull
in the
sharks.
voice of Medea.
Oh my god. Uh okay. Bull sharks are also territorial.
Are they really?
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't know that.
So splashing competitors in their nursery waters, they don't get a pass. They get attacked.
Dude, I'm not sharing, go away.
So, but why was there repeated attacks in one small area like Matawan Creek? Why wouldn't they attack and then move on? It's extremely rare, but it is plausible. It's a small, confined half-mile kill zone. It's full of summer crowds of kids splashing constantly. The poor visibility magnifies every single mistake. Lester was a little farther out than his friends. Although he was floating, he was also actively kicking his legs.
And the motion brought
Yep.
made him think there was something else up there that was trying to get at his food.
Mhm. The
And he's
l
going, not today, sucker."
Right, exactly. The lateral line that sharks have would have picked that movement of his feet up and drawn the attention straight to him.
That's why he didn't go after the other kids, just Lester.
Mhm. He was the closest.
Yep.
Then there's Stanley Fisher. Stanley was repeatedly diving into the water exactly where the shark had just attacked. The blood from Lester kept the shark in the area due to their sense of smell being so strong. Then, due to this attack happening upstream, Stanley's blood trail made its way downstream, which attracted the shark, or possibly a different shark, to the area that Joseph Dunn was in. The stimuli from the blood, the two attacks that had just happened, paired with the splashing, basically overstimulated the shark and kept it in an agitated state. Some have also theorized that with the tide still rising, it also continued to rise the salinity in the water, which in turn made the shark more comfortable and more aggressive.
Complicated little suckers, ain't they?
Oh, yeah. So, really, in the end, okay, we figured it out. We have closed the case on what kind of shark it was.
It was a bull shark.
Okay.
I was right the first time.
You're half right. You're half right. You've heard it here first on Monstrous. We have closed the case on what kind of shark it was in
It
1916
was a
Jersey Shore.
jellyfish. No, I'm kidding.
In the end, they didn't have a serial killer shark, as they called it. Instead, it was just a shark in a human splash buffet. Now, before I tell you what it was, we're going to answer why humans get bitten by sharks at all. Mostly, it's a case of mistaken identity.
Yeah, because they think we're like a sea otter or something.
Mhm. In fact, statistics and research show that 70 to 80% of shark attacks are either mistaken identity or their exploratory behavior. It sounds crazy, but I'm going to explain it. Then it'll make a little bit more sense. I even have a couple of pictures to show you, which are also going to be on the Facebook to show what I mean. But it sounds like you kind of already know what I'm talking about. So in the surf, your silhouette from below, which is how a great white hunts, and great whites account for most shark attacks. From below, you look like a seal.
And them suckers get
Oh,
huge.
yeah. You look like a seal or even a sea turtle. In creeks, those your kicking legs sound like a wounded fish. What?
I just pictured myself as a sea turtle.
Oh my god. So anyway, in creeks, when you're kicking your legs swimming, you sound like a wounded fish
Yeah.
flapping around in the water. No hands means that they have to test with their mouth. So a 7-foot bull shark, 2-foot wide jaw, testing your calf rips it all the way to the bone. They may not eat you, but that's still classified as a shark attack.
Well, yeah.
Right. So the murky water hides the error until it's too late. They can't see what you are. They just know you're there. And then with a great white, your shape and shadow looks like something they would normally eat.
He's going, "Lunchtime."
And sharks, they great white, they hunt from the bottom. So
Yeah, they come up this way.
yep, they straighten themselves out, and then that's how they don't really jump out of the water. They're lunging themselves up so fast to catch their food that they come up out of the water.
Right.
And so they don't know you're not their normal prey until it's too late. Typically, a great white, once they bite and realize that you're not what I normally eat, they let go. They typically don't continue to attack you once they realize that, "Oh, you're not a seal. I don't eat you." And a lot of times you die from it because it's a I mean, their mouth is as big as you are.
Oh, I know.
I mean, it's not like a little cut, you know? So, anyway, the 1916 sensory soup of heat stranded baitfish, bleeding victims, and panicking crowds lit up every single shark scent for miles. All of this reframes those 1916 attacks completely. Is it terrifying? Of course, but it's an extreme outlier, and it is not typical shark behavior. Great White explains the ocean kills. Bull sharks nail the creek carnage. This was not one single shark.
I figured there was more than one.
It's not supernatural evil. It's just rare biology colliding with a crowded summer in all of the wrong ways. Honestly, it's no wonder why experts still today debate one shark versus many, because both species fit different pieces of the puzzle perfectly. So now that we understand what sharks actually do and how bull sharks treat creeks like grocery stores, the 1916 attacks transforms from sea monster myth to a perfect storm of marine biology meeting human carelessness. From, from Beach Haven surf to the Matawan mud, 1916 proved that the oceans have teeth. And sometimes those teeth swim inland. But one question still haunts marine biologists, shark experts, and true crime obsessives even a century later. What really happened off that New Jersey shore that summer? Schleicher's 11-foot trophy, which was gutted on a New York table with a pound of human flesh filled stomach, gave 1916 America the ending it craved. It was case closed. The man-eater was caught, and the summer resumed. The science doesn't work on cheers and headlines. Modern shark researchers pick at the evidence like forensic accountants, and two big questions dominate all the rest. Was it a bull shark or a great white? Was it one shark or many? Personally, I think it was at least one great white and at least one bull shark. The bull shark was in the creek. The great white was in the ocean.
Yeah, I can't see that great white going down that creek.
No, it the only way it could be a great white was if it was a great white pup,
Yeah, if it was little.
because great whites get massive. Anyway, we're gonna for our listeners break it down. For the great white case, traditional views say Schleicher's specimen was a massive coastal shark caught right at Matawan Creek's mouth, and that points to great white. Eyewitnesses at Beach Haven and Spring Lake Beach described classic great white behavior during those offshore ambushes: the powerful bite from below, the vanishing after the kill, Van Zant's thigh to bone wounds only 60 yards out, and Bruder's evisceration 130 yards offshore are both textbook great white surf zone attacks. The human remains in Schleicher's shark stomachs sealed it for contemporaries. Great whites roam New Jersey waters seasonally, following the yearly seal migration. One big female that's displaced by heat or currents hits the resorts and then chases blood trails up the creek. It fits neatly. Now, for the bull shark case, modern experts lean harder here, especially for the Matawan Creek area attack. Bull sharks don't just tolerate brackish water. Like I've already said, they thrive in it. The glands over their kidneys pump excess salt when entering fresh water, leading them to hunt rivers like the Amazon or the Mississippi. Now, the Matawan Creek during a flood tide, that's basically a bull shark grocery store. Chest deep, murky water hides mistakes that the shark normally wouldn't have made. Three rapid attacks in 6 hours scream territorial bull shark defending nursery waters, not a patient great white ambush predator. Greek witnesses describe a leaner, faster shark than what Schleicher's heavyweight great white was. Great whites rarely enter true estuaries as the fresh water isn't something that they can survive in for long, and the visibility is zero. And like I said, they are visual hunters. But bull sharks live in these kind of waters. So, was it one shark or many? There is the rogue shark hypothesis, which was popularized by the movie Jaws. This one says that there was one single man eater, maybe injured, sick, or just in the mood for tasting human, and it had gone all wrong. It stalked the coast from July 1st to the 12th, Beach Haven, then Spring Lake, and then ending in Matawan Creek. One animal learning that humans bleed easily, followed the blood and the current. It's a neat narrative with a clear and clean villain, but it's a little too neat. So I've already said what I think. I agree with the multiple shark hypothesis. This one feels more real just based on what we know about sharks now, specifically the bull shark and great white. So at least one great white, which was most likely the one that hit the beaches offshore. Then at least one separate bull shark took to Matawan Creek, which is an estuary. Or I find this one less likely, but it's not possible. There's also it could have been 2 separate great whites, one coastal and one that was creek curious, but
I don't see
I
it happening.
yeah, I don't lean towards that one very much, but it's not impossible. So this 1916 Jersey Shore shark attack can consisted of 5 attacks that resulted in 4 fatalities over 150 miles of coastline in only 12 days. Statistically, it is very unlikely that one single shark could have done that.
Oh, no, it wasn't one thing.
The stomach contents of Schleicher's fish were too fresh for his shark to be the one that caused the full carnage of those 12 days. Most likely, this shark had scavenged the creek for remains which it had found floating downstream. Then, the final Shrewsbury River attack, which was the one on Sherry Colgate, and after Schleicher's shark had been caught, suggests that this attack was most likely just a lingering shark activity and nothing more. It's just kind of one of those freak things that happened and it was kinda tied in. So that brings us to why there are still no answers. Well, that's because 1916 forensics, which means basically they had nothing. There was 0 of everything. No DNA, no tooth overlays, no stomach preservation. So today they can't say 100% without a doubt. Eyewitnesses conflict with what they saw. Some say it was 12 foot, others say 8. Then some say that the shark was gray, while others say they saw a white underbelly. There's no photos or videos of the shark like there would be today. There are also no photos of any of the wounds pre autopsy. Simply put, the records are incomplete. The local papers, evidence, eyewitness statements, coroner sketches, everything conflicts and it's incomplete. So the debate has continued to rage on in journals since the attacks. In 2012, Richard Ellis called it multiple sharks, but the International Shark Attack File leans towards a great white and and bull shark fans points to the creek physics. But the real takeaway is that science reveals how we crave simple monsters. In 1916, they needed a man-eater, and the ocean gave them Schleicher's Dock trophy. But the truth is much messier than that. The rare conditions of that year, the heat wave, the flood tide, the prey flush, and the 1 to 3 confused sharks, plus the crowded waters full of splashing humans, all added together equals a nightmare summer. It's not supernatural. It's not rogue. Just ocean meeting overconfidence. 1916 shark attack case stays unsolved because nature defies Hollywood endings. Maybe it was one great white that started the panic and a bull shark finished it in the creek. Maybe it was 2 great whites, one large, one small in 2 separate areas. Maybe there were 3 sharks total. And maybe Schleicher's fish simply had floating lunch instead of a live one. Just like then, we celebrate the catch and debate the species. But the real lesson endures and probably always will. 1, the ocean isn't ours. It belongs to the animals and unknown creatures that live in it. Something that as a collective whole, the human race has not fully understood yet. 2, splashing draws teeth and in turn draws injuries and possibly death. And then 3, sometimes those teeth find their way to the creek. Now, for those that haven't picked up on the light cues and just don't know, these 4 dead victims, the one survivor, and those 12 days of horror birthed what is widely considered the first modern summer blockbuster film. a film that for 2 years held the title of highest grossing film of all time. And still today, this film hits the charts. Worldwide, it ranks number 10 on the all-time global list and number 7 on the all-time list for North America.
I figured it'd be higher than that for worldwide.
It was. It was for a long time. So, I'm talking about none other than the 1975 classic monster movie, Jaws. Now, we know that science explains the how, history remembers the horror, but New Jersey 1916 whispers one eternal truth flashed carefully. And once 2 men got their hands on it, the world would never treat the ocean the same ever again. Because 59 years later, after the attack in 1975, those ocean and creek attacks would leap from dusty headlines to the biggest blockbuster of all time.
Yeah, it was. I remember going to see that movie too.
Oh, I love that movie.
Scared the snot out of me. I didn't go to the beach for the longest time. Of
Oh, I love that movie
course,
so
I
much.
was only 15
Right,
when that movie came out.
right, right.
Yes, I'm old.
It scared a lot of people when it came out.
Yeah, it did. It was good though.
Oh, yeah. So, Peter Benchley wasn't inventing Shark Panic from thin air. Born in 1940 on Martha's Vineyard, which is Shark Attack Central, he grew up swimming in waters where great whites hunted seal. The local lore included the 1916 retellings about Beach Haven's death, Matawan Creek backyard horror, and Slasher's dog trophy. As a marine journalist, Benchley devoured shark research, including John McEachran's attack file, Harry Gilbert's studies, and eyewitness accounts worldwide. But the 1916 attack loomed the largest for him, the resort economy versus the monster, denial turning to dread, and a rogue shark ending the siege. Jaws, which first came to the world in 1974 as a novel, echoed the 1916 attack beat for beat. The Amity Island, which was a tourist.
Now, Peter Benchley wrote the book.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So the Amity Island, which was a tourist trap just like Jersey Shore, fights to keep beaches open despite the attack. The mayor denies the threat to protect dollars, exactly like Beach Haven officials did post Van Zant. Then Brody hunts a single road great white, mirroring Fleischer's Maneater. Bless you.
Thank you.
And then the climax was a massive shark being hauled dockside. Its jaws propped open, which was a literal nod to the 1916 trophy photos. And eventually actually confirmed that the Jersey attack inspired inspired the persistence, the denial, and the hunt in his 1974 novel. Now, we all know that this guy isn't who did the movie. So, did the movie that many of us know and love today. The man responsible for that is none other than Steven Spielberg. And his 1975 film cemented this.
Yeah, but they blew him up in the movie.
Yeah, yep. It cemented this into both American and film history forever.
Oh, yeah, he's an awesome director.
Oh, yeah,
I've always loved his movies.
me too. So the Jaws film was mixed with Hollywood classics, which was part of why the film was so successful, but that wasn't it alone. It was pure 1916 in nearly every way. Quint's shark hunt monologue was similar to what actually happened in 1916. The armed boats, chum slick, and the harpoon frenzy, that was real. Amity's town meetings echoed Spring Lake's panic. Brody's rifle from the beach, that was Matawan's desperation. The shark's dorsal slicing through the choppy water, that was Radarin Bay eyewitness sketches. And the bit of Hollywood that everyone knows is none other than John Williams' two-tone da-dum.
Da-dum,
That exactly.
da-dum.
That score to the un unseen terror of Van Zant treading water alone and Lester floating oblivious. Spielberg amplifies the story with pure genius.
Oh, yeah.
His mechanical shark breaks down the force with an underwater point of view. It's the shark's world and not ours, which mirrors the 1960s you can't see it coming. Now, the legendary composer John Williams' score builds dread without a frame of gore. That da-dum music makes you feel the dread with your body reacting before the threat is ever known, without the classic slasher monster film
Yeah, you
blood
hear
and
that music,
violence.
you know something's gonna happen.
Oh, yeah. You hear it and that's it. You don't need the blood and violence that comes from the
At
s
the end of that
the
donut.
the normal slasher monster movies that we have, especially from that time. Because let's just be honest.
Yeah, I never wanted to beach it much after
The
that.
let's be real. The horror slasher monster movies now aren't shit compared to what they used to be because they censor so much now. That's why the old movies are the best.
Give her a horror movie over a chick flick any day of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Although that one we just saw was good.
Oh, yeah, Reminders of Him. That was really good. I don't watch a chick flick very often.
That one was good, though.
I like scary movies.
Nope, no, not
Yep.
it.
Give me a classic scary or monster movie, I'm all in. Yep. I still gotta watch Scream 7. So
You've watched some more movies in the last week.
I know, cause so many have come out. I still gotta watch the newest, uh, Halloween movie, Scream 7.
Hey, we're getting off track here. Come
Yeah,
on now.
anyway, sorry, guys. Okay. So this film didn't just become a beloved classic for the entire world. It also was a major cash cow for those responsible for its creation.
Oh, hell yeah, they
Yeah.
made millions.
So the budget for this movie was $9 million. Once it was released and in the box office, it made $470 million. That's a $461 million profit. Adjusted for inflation, if Jaws had been created today, that budget would be around $55 million, making around 2.86 billion today,
I believe it.
with a profit of 2.8 billion. Yeah, major cash cow movie. Now, at the time of its release in 1975, at the unadjusted rate, Jaws became the most profitable film ever made. And it held that until 1977 when Star Wars came out that November, making Jaws number 2. And it remained in the number 2 slot until 1982 when one of Spielberg's other classics hit the box office. Can you guess which one that is? It was one of my favorites as a kid.
E.T.
Yep. Yep, it was E.T. Throughout the 80s and 90s, Jaws remained in the top 10, slowly being pushed farther and farther down as more modern movies came out.
The more mo the more movies Spielberg came out with.
Pretty much, yeah. Now today, due to inflation and the rise of the cost in everything, Jaws is no longer in the top 10 or even the top 100 list, which honestly to me is just crazy because it's a classic and who doesn't love Jaws? Like, honestly. Anyway, if you look at the list of movies adjusted for inflation, which that's that's a thing. I didn't know that until now. Jaws ranks number 10 worldwide and number 7 for the US. If you look at the adjusted or unadjusted for inflation, it's still ranked. But if you look at the adjusted, it doesn't. Yeah. So although it seems like Jaws has run its course, that is far from true. Everyone loves a classic monster movie. And honestly, I'm waiting for them to make a remake. They're remaking so many of those classic movies. I'm
I
waiting for
don't
them to do
know
Jaws.
I don't know if he would do that or not.
I wish he would because Jaws with today's film technology, oh my god. Could you imagine if they CGI'd that giant ass shark? Steven, we gotta make it happen, okay? We gotta get on that. Anyway, this movie was a major hit, but it also had a major impact on the world. Sharks became villains. Pre-Jaws, sharks were rare, but post-Jaws, every fin, no matter how small, no matter the species, equaled massive terror. Sport fishing exploded, and sharks were killed by the millions every year. The U.S. fin trade boomed. Populations of shark species crashed by 90% in the following decades. Beach nets killed thousands of sharks every year. The 1916's Real Jaws framing ensures retelling stay horror and not just natural biology where people ignore the creek physics, bull shark habitat, and the pest bite reality. In the end, Benchley would later regret it, according to my research. I regret ever writing the book. which later caused him to become a shark advocate, and he fought overfishing until his death in 2006 from a severe progressive lung disease. Spielberg has also went on to donate part of his finning profits to his finding profits conservation. So, part of his profits from his movies to shark conservation. But unfortunately and sadly, it was too late. The Jaws effect lingers even today. 14,000 people across 137 countries fear sharks irrationally. Global attacks continue to decline with populations, yet the panic endures. In reality, the 1916 Jersey Shore attack gave Jaws its bones: the denial, the rogue shark, and the desperate hunt. Spielberg's genius made it a celluloid myth. And despite the negative impact, there were also beneficial results as well. The negative impacts in the shark species gave way to the shark conservation movement, which came to be in the mid 90s, and then a 1997 shark trust, that was established and worked to change how the world saw sharks. Then, from 2009 to 2011, there was a massive surge of legal protection and public awareness of the dangers that humans truly are to sharks. Because let's be real, humans are more deadly to sharks than they are to us. In this time frame, the first shark sanctuary was established in Palua. And then in 2010, Hawaii became the first U.S. state to ban the shark fin trade. Then in 2011, the U.S. Shark Conservation Act was signed into law, closing many major loops in the shark fin trade. This also changes many things that we thought we knew about sharks. Sharks once were thought to be the most dangerous thing on Earth. But today, with everything that we have learned over the last several decades, it's become clear that sharks are statistically among the least likely large predator to kill a human. To show you this, I did some digging. Okay. So annually, crocodiles kill at least 1,000 people. I was shocked by that one. Hippos kill at least 500 people a year, which that doesn't
I
surprise
ain't
me
going near either one,
because hippos will kill you just for fucking looking at them. Like, hippos don't give a shit. Lions, at least 200 people.
and that's usually because 'cause you've aggravated them.
Right. My question is, who the hell is getting close enough to a lion for it to eat you?
Not me,
Next
not it.
next is elephants at 100.
Elephants are one of the more gentle creatures
Right. I was shocked by that one. I was really shocked by that one. And then sharks are at the very bottom with less than 10 fatalities every year. But yet sharks are the most feared,
because of all the hype.
right? Yep. So now to be clear, there are what are called shark attacks at between 60 and 80 a year. Okay. But not all of them are fatal. Most of them are just exploratory bites or mistaken identity. And usually, once a shark realizes that you're human, like I said, they let go and they move on. There are only about a dozen shark species that are actually considered to be dangerous to humans out of 500. That ain't shit. There is major damage to a person that a bite can have, obviously. I mean, think about it. An animal that's at least twice your size, in some cases much bigger than that, bumps you to see where you are. You're going to have broken bones. You're going to get cuts from their skin because their skin's like sandpaper. If you rub a shark um, from nose to fin, then it's smooth. But if you go from fin if you go from tail to nose, it's like sandpaper and it's gonna cut your skin.
Yeah.
So, it happens because they might rub up against you the wrong way or whatever. Um, then they also have exploratory bites. Their mouths are genuinely, depending on the species, are the same width as they are long. So if you have an 8-foot shark, its mouth is about 8 feet wide. If it takes an exploratory bite out of you, trying to decide and figure out what the hell you are,
They're gonna bite you in half.
you're gonna lose a chunk of your leg because it you're you're gonna have some damage. Basically, it's like a toddler biting you, just to bite you, but it's a shark. You're gonna have significant blood loss. You could potentially lose part of your leg. You could potentially die, but they're not purposely trying to kill you or eat you. They just don't have hands to touch you, so they have to use their mouth. But humans are not a shark's natural prey due to the bone and fat, like I said earlier. So it's extremely rare for a shark to actually attack a human or eat them just because they feel like it. So, in other words, sharks are actually one of the safest large predators on Earth, even though they've been branded as the deadliest monster alive. And it's crazy to look back and realize that 4 dead from an extremely rare shark attack during a flood tide and crazy heat wave in 1916 is what became the reason to fear every single wave in the ocean. Yeah. So the next time you hear the da-dum,
Da-dun, da-dun.
remember the Matawan voice splashing, Stanley Fisher diving, and Joseph Dunn kicking. It's not fiction and it's not exaggeration. Science says you have to swim smart. But in 1916, and Jaws whispered to us all that some summers cause the ocean to bite you back. And that is the 1916 Jersey Shore shark attack that left 4 dead, 1 scarred survivor, and 1 nation that was changed forever. Yep.
I'll go to the swimming pool, thank you.
Now, I want to mention that Matawan does honor all 5 of their victims. At Rose Hill Cemetery, Lester's grave continues to collect baseballs and toys from visitors.
Aw,
Stanley's stained glass window glows in the Episcopal church where he sang. In a 2016 Sentinel, there were trolley tours, monument dedications, kayak creek trips, and ice cream socials in their honor. The Matawan Historical Society also keeps their memory alive not as a horror, but as a hometown tragedy and heroism. There are shark planks that line Main Street, and the creek that took 2 lives now teaches respect. But what do we know now about sharks? The attacks continue to stay rare. Like I said, worldwide yearly, 80 confirmed, with about 5 fatal. Millions swim safely every year. Most shark species ignore humans entirely,
I'd ignore humans entirely too if I could get away with it.
right? But shark populations continue to crash from overfishing, spinning, and by catching them. These ancient fish
I
need
look at it this way, if they leave me alone, I'll leave them alone.
right, like, just let them be where they are.
If I wanna see a shark, I'll go to an aquarium.
Right. These ancient fish need us much less than we need them because they balance our oceans, and they are a major part in why they
In
remain
the
balanced.
ecosystem.
Right. In 1916 was a real horror. It was a moment where humans met wilderness without modern science, without bull shark ecology, and without wetsuits or attack files. 5 victims paid for that ignorance. But it holds both of these truths. The creek's terror was genuine, and the fear was legitimate. And the sharks and vital ecosystem engineers, not jaw villains. They hunt sick fish, control ways, and anchor the food webs. If we lose sharks, then we lose the coral, the fisheries, and the ocean's health.
And that's where our fishy that we eat come from.
hmm And in my opinion, humans take the ocean for granted. The ocean is a massive part of our ecosystem, and we need sharks to keep that healthy and balanced. Many believe that humans are at the top of the food chain,
No, we ain't.
but that's not true. Apex predators are at the top of the food chain, and that includes sharks. If you look at it, humans are actually closer to the bottom.
We are bottom feeders,
The only
and God knows
reason
that.
the only reason that humans are considered at the top of the food chain is because we're advanced. That's
Well,
it.
because we have intelligence where they don't.
Actually, they're actually really intelligent. They don't have the type of intelligence that we have.
Right. They can't
Right.
express their intelligence like we
Mhm.
do.
Right. That's the only reason why humans are considered to be at the top, but we're not. Apex predators are, and that includes sharks. Okay. So that doesn't mean that we shouldn't fear them. We should, but we should also respect them. If you enter the ocean, you're entering their home.
Right.
You're entering their territory, and you should respect it. Humans are the largest danger to all ocean life. So much so that 71% of the ocean, out of 71% of the ocean that covers the world, only 13% of it true wilderness, meaning it's been untouched by humans.
What's a good thing and something needs to be.
We hunt ocean life for food, and some people do it just 'cause or just to kill them for some kind of personal gain.
No, that's stupid.
We also capture sea life and place them in tanks for our entertainment. Humans do not understand the ocean or the creatures that are in it. And so, because of that, we fear them. Instead, we should respect them, learn about them, try to understand them, swim with care, and do our job in protecting them and their home. So, that's it.
I'll protect our home by not going.
I will end my rage there because I could go on about that for days.
Yes, she could too.
Yes, I could. Uh, so, thanks, guys, for diving deep across these two oceans with us. From the beach haven verandas to the Matawan mud, 1916 proved that even backyard water can hold peace. Okay, now for next week. We're going to be diving. We're going to talk about something that we haven't talked about yet. Okay. We're going to dive into a story that starts quietly, but it doesn't stay quiet for long. Something mysterious begins to spread, and before anyone understands what's happening, people are falling into a terrifying sleep. They may not wake from the same way. At first, it looks like confusion. Then it becomes panic. And soon, the search for answers reveals just how quickly an unseen threat can overwhelm an entire community, leaving doctors, families, and investigators racing against time. It's a story about fear, survival, and the desperate need to understand an illness that turned ordinary life into something chillingly familiar. And it is something that even today, over 100 years later, the medical field has no answer for. It is one of medicine's biggest mysteries.
And on that note,
Yep. So, guys, make sure you turn in for that one. All right. Make sure you give us a rate, review, subscribe, hit your bell notification. You can see the pictures that go along with this episode on Facebook. That link is in our description, along with the other socials we have and our Find Me a Coffee page. You can send us case suggestions, your personal tales to our email. That is in the episode description as well. And that is it, guys. Make sure you watch for sharks. Respect the ocean.
dun, dun,
Respect the ocean. Don't hunt sharks.
just don't eat fish. No, I'm kidding.
Don't hunt
I
the
like
sharks.
fish.
Right. Don't hunt them. Just
Don't hunt them. Shark, shark, shark meat's not that great anyway. It's yucky.
just let them live in their world like they let us live in ours. And we hope you keep listening. And as always, remember to
Watch out for monsters.
and don't kill people. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.